Hey everybody, Josh here. So you would think that after doing this show and graphically novel for as long as I have, I would learn not to record something with 4 people in a hotel room. But that is exactly what happened with this episode. So just so you know, this is not only a 2-parter, but the audio quality isn't the best. I have done what I can with it, but there are parts where kind of it drops off a little bit for a couple syllables, and you have to kind of fill in the blanks. If that does bother you, I would recommend just maybe skipping this episode and the next one, since they both will have that audio quality. All right? Thanks, everybody. Take it away, Vandello.
Direct conversation, some deep reactions, please. All this comics narration ain't elating me. A little more talk, a lot less read. A little fight, baby, is what I need. Close the trade, open up your brains. Explain it to me. Explain it to me, baby. Explain it to me.
Thank you, Vandello, and welcome to Rhett Conversations. My name is Josh Wasta, a.k.a. Fallout Fury, and with me, as always, time, why you punish me. Like a wave bashing into the shore, you wash away my dreams. It's Leia Cameron.
Oh, that really took me back, actually.
Thanks for coming, folks.
There was just a joke on I want to say it was SNL Weekend Update, where they were talking about how Beyonce has taken back country music, back to African American culture, and he was like, and Colin, or no, it was Michael Che is like, you're forgetting about Hootie. Darius Rucker.
Yep. She used to get really mad when people would call him Hootie because they thought it was his name.
Yep.
It's not?
No.
It's very sad.
Yeah.
Don't tell me. I think you had already said it. But
Okay. And with us, a very, very special crowd. The last time we put this team together, it is the episode that I actually recommend to people who are like, what episode should I listen to? I'm like, you can listen to 3 women make me very ashamed of my teenage self in the Dawn episode. And so we have Dawn Baldwin is back with us. Welcome back.
woohoo! Thanks for having me. Definitely not your hotel room.
That's right. We're all live today. Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Yeah, exactly.
And auditing today is the Baroness and Miss Jennifer Howland. How are you, Mike?
I am doing very well, and I'm looking forward to this episode.
Are you?
For many reasons. Well, okay. I am looking forward to our reactions to this episode. Yes.
I mean, yes, and there will be a lot of reactions. So today we are doing Age of Ultron, which Dawn specifically asked for. And as we found out at lunch, this was not serious.
No, to clarify, it was serious. I just didn't be taken seriously. So when I got the invite, I was like, no fucking way, really? And then I got the reminder because I hadn't picked a date, and I was like, oh, game on, let's do this. Sorry, Leia.
I didn't think you were going to do it, though.
Yeah. And specifically, well, this season also has a lot of, like, you're going to be doing Ultimatum later, which you normally wouldn't do, but if we're going to do half and half presenting during the season, like, there just was not enough options for you to avoid at least one. And this is
like
one
a
of
medical
those.
stress test.
Yes. This is one of those this season. This is specifically the 2019 Age of Ultron.
2013.
2013. Okay.
2019 Age of Ultron. If there is one, I don't want to know about it. So don't tell us. Don't write us. Don't email us. Don't call us.
Forget you know what.
Lose our number.
Prank caller. Click.
Yes, exactly.
And so for people who have not listened to the episode before, or the show before, this is how it goes. The professor...
Somebody. Nailed it.
The presenting professor, Professor L, will be taking Dawn and Jen through all of Age of Ultron. At any point, Dawn or Jen can pull the emergency brake on the entire show. They can ask any question, make any comment. As for clarification, who the fuck is that is appropriate for some of this. And then it is my job to answer
that question. If I do not know the answer, I may kick it back to Leia. If neither of us know the answer, Jennifer Howland is here. She will just make up an answer, and that is canon, Marvel. That is therefore, that is now the rule. That is the law.
That's right.
So
No change.
I lay down the law.
right.
No takesies.
That's right.
And so let us begin Age of Ultron.
No.
All right, everyone. Well, thanks for tuning in.
I choose dissent.
That would have been a great April Fool's Day.
No.
They look at it, they're like, why is it only 6 minutes long?
No. So
I've woken up today and chosen violence.
Chosen violence. Well, were you there when
this
I
is
was...
self-defense at this
No,
point.
it is. Were you there when I was saying that virtually I was going to have my pick? You know, the guy with the chair and the sign was changed my mind?
Oh yeah.
But like, you know, I actually like MC Ultron changed my mind. So I think, and now so it exists.
Yeah, also for people who haven't listened to the show before, it is known that how much Leia dislikes the Age of Ultron MCU movie, despite being a very large fan of the MCU in general, and understanding that there are certain things that Age of Ultron adds in. James Spader was fantastic.
Yes.
It is the introduction of Scarlet Witch
And Vision
and Vision
Silver and stuff like that, and the Sokovia Accords, all the stuff that becomes important in the MCU later was directly a result of that film. So whereas I understand its relevance and how vital it is to latter day MCU stuff, Whedon is a hack, and that movie was, as far as I could tell, could have been an email, first of all. Second of all, as far as I could tell, was written by a field on Archive of Our Own making fanfic about what she'd like to have done with the Avengers, specifically Hulk. And so I have a lot of beef with that film. Everybody just walking around wildly out of character, asking Captain America for romantic advice like he's not a 40-year-old virgin.
Captain America fucks.
Yeah, well, he sure does, but yeah, when somebody's like, "Hey, Cap, can you give me lady advice?" and he's like, "Sure, as you know, I'm really a hit with the lady." I'm like, who is talking right now?
My time spent frozen in the ice
Right.
gave me great insight
Right.
into women and relationships.
Right.
Like,
I've owed one woman one kiss for 70 years.
right,
And that's it. I haven't thought about
But let me
anything
tell
else.
you how to hook up with Natasha Romanoff, the Black Widow.
Yeah.
I am good at that. I will tell you how to do that. Like, what the fuck? Anyways, I could soapbox about that film all day.
So you feel about this film like I feel about Nirvana. You understand their contributions, but fuck them.
But it's not for you, and that is okay. My stance on them has softened as time has gone on because of what it brought to the greater MCU at large. But I still don't. It was very good.
Yeah.
That's it.
That meeting.
Yeah. Lots of corporate meddling.
This comic does start out pretty good. You got your boy, got Hawkeye.
Yes. So we start. That's a great segue. Thank you for that.
Uh-huh.
We start out in a New York City with. Okay. New York City looks like it's having some problems. It appears to be sort of like there's like a dome over it, except it's like a bunch of like a metallic sort of
Like a bunch of alien ships.
Kind of like a techno dome sort of thing over it. I can't think of the words that I want to use here.
No, like it's built of scrap metal. Like if Magneto were to just put something around Manhattan.
Some people like a salad bowl.
So it's
Thunderdome.
Yeah.
Thunderdome's a good one, yeah.
Mad Max it.
Yeah.
We don't need it now to hear.
But yeah, it's
I edit it.
So they self-contained New York
Yeah,
City?
self-contained
Yes.
New York City. It's all covered in this sort of scrap metal dome sort of thing. There's lightning around it. It looks very ominous. And you see kind of the inside of the city inside this scrap metal dome, and it looks like 9/11.
All right. That's terrifying.
Yeah, it's post-apocalyptic New York City. And we see the first person we see is Hawkeye. Saving a young lady from a life of crime and drugs. She's basically going to like a whorehouse that's also like a drug house that's also like one of the last to go.
Yeah, they've been telling female survivors out on the street, hey, there's a place you can go and you can sleep safe. And when they get there,
It's not.
it's
Trafficking?
Yes.
Or...
Yeah.
So it's like the YMC.
Only terrible and evil.
yes,
Okay.
without a pool.
Without a pool. No workouts for you.
That's right.
So Hawkeye saves this gal.
He is in no way, by the way, pulling arrows. These are not like wound you strikes.
Oh.
Yeah.
These are straight on through your larynx arrow strikes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which is my favorite Clint.
He's seen some shit. I can't remember if this is what leads to him quote unquote dying. If this storyline is what takes place dies.
No, because this is after House of M, and he died before House of M, because that was Avengers Disassembled.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because as I was reading this, he doesn't die during the course of this, but I was like, I wonder if this is like what leads. I couldn't.
This is after he's died and come back after House of M. Vision still hasn't from Disassembled.
Okay, so that's where we're at in the timeline. He manages to kind of fight his way through this crack house, and
it's an MGH house, which is mutant growth hormone, which was a drug in like mid 2000s Marvel. Where basically you could have mutant abilities for a certain amount of time.
Didn't you do that on a different podcast where they synthesized it? Something like that?
Is there nothing the X-Men will not take?
That was also in The Boys.
That's true. Well, yeah, but The Boys is after that, like, was printed after this storyline. But yes, for those who have not seen it, our new banner is Wanda Maximoff saying no more mutants. Also, no more clones, and also, fuck the moon.
No space, Marvel.
I relate to Wanda Maximoff so strongly some days, and that's definitely one of them, like, as fuck. I don't dislike the X-Men, I just don't like to read them. I like them as a concept.
Yeah.
So anyway, so he fights his way to the basement of this place and finds a tied up, beaten up, Super Christ Spider-Man.
My brain is just really not wanting to go through this.
It's everything about it. Like, my brain keeps like, just talk about something else. Just talk about something else.
It reminds me of when we were at the Flying Moose and you and Jen kept having your eyes go to the screen. Like, that was behind me, but it was Snyder's cut of the Justice League.
And I was like, why do I keep doing this to myself? My eyes!
So, like, because there was Movie Box, like, behind me, their eyes would go, and then they would be like, no, you've seen this, you hate this.
But it's there. Why can't I look at it? Maybe it'll be different here in this other place. No,
These two, like, Z-list criminals, like the Owl and Hammerhead, have captured Spider-Man somehow or whatever, and he's tied up.
What?
Hawkeye manages to, like...
I want to ask a question, but I also very bad.
We don't.
You're asking me the question.
That's true, but it's going to prolong it for her, and I don't want to.
Leia knew what the question was.
Yeah,
and answered.
The question is, I don't know.
If it's how did they capture Spider-Man, they actually do go over that.
No, it's mostly why is there an owl and a shark?
They're just people with dumb names. Like,
yeah.
They're just like
Watchmen.
Okay, all right.
They're just thugs that are like, you know what Beatles' my name was Hammerhead.
Right.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. And he has an impenetrable skull. Literally his whole thing. He's a mobster.
All right.
And Owl is just super smart, and his hair like
kind of owlish.
Has the owl like.
And he wears glasses.
And he wears glasses.
So for the job you want.
Yeah, that's right.
Where did we get from that owls like have poor eyesight?
Probably the Tootsie Roll commercials.
Yeah.
Well, I think that it's because they have those giant eyes, and it looks like glasses. Like those
I'll do literally anything to keep from talking about this plot line.
Owl propaganda it is. Let's go.
Oh, by the way, moving up from just putting arrows through people's necks, Hawkeye's also using grenades.
Yes.
Yeah, like he is murdering people.
He's like, he's just big mad. But.
It is a post-apocalypse. Something very terrible has happened to New York City.
Yeah.
Like, it is in ruins. It is past the point of, like, let's take you to jail. There is no jail.
No,
Yeah.
so they're like, let's just kill you and be done with it.
Yeah, don't you fuck around and find out.
New York City is so screwed up right now that Biden refuses to tell people to stop.
Oh, yeah. No, that's fair.
So they do get off a good line, which I think was also used, if not in Age of Ultron, the film, and some subsequent, where Hammerhead is like, or no, Owl is like, bows and arrows, the world's gone to hell and you're sticking people with bows and arrows?
Yeah.
That's why no one likes you. Which
That's
is,
fair.
I mean, that's pretty common
Might be
for
time for
Hawkeye. I feel like
arrows.
he gets that criticism a lot. It's unfair. He's very good at his bows and arrows. Leave the man alone.
Just because he's good at it.
So we find out as we kind of pull back from this house in this blighted area that there are what look like a bunch of like Iron Man suits that are encircling the house. They're all humanoid life forms are to exit the present premises immediately. They're shining these beams onto the house to illuminate it, whatever, and they look kind of like the Iron Man suits, but also like Sentinels, like the X-Men. So that's how you know that you're in for a bad time. And you should close the comic book and do.
There's an Old Navy somewhere.
They closed the world market, though.
Aww. There's always the Costco. Who wants to go to Costco?
We can get some.
So they make their escape, and so as and Peter are outside, trying to escape these Sentinels. The Owl looks up at the drone guys and is like, "Hey, look, I thought we had a deal. The deal was that we deliver to you and you leave us alone." These drone guys, Iron Man, explode the building, but they get out. They get out.
Clint and Peter do.
Clint
I'm
and
pretty
Peter,
sure
yes.
Hammerhead and Owl are vaporized.
Yes.
Oh. Wow,
but
vaporized.
the Sentinels, for whatever reason, didn't see or notice. Clint takes them to a safe house where there are other superheroes.
I like how they go for the unsafe house.
Safer house. It's
Safer
not,
house?
still,
Okay.
it's still not super safe. It's safer.
Okay.
Luke Cage is there. She-Hulk is there. She's sporting a haircut that I'm there with.
And she's drawn like
it.
she's a drag queen.
Yeah, it's really weird. I don't like the art. There are parts where I do like the art, like on this a little bit before. There's a really gorgeous picture of a half beaten up Spider-Man that actually looks really nice. And there's this of indistinguishable gender, but also kind of looks like masculine desire from the Endless. It's real weird.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I don't.
Is intentionally drawn androgynous for some reason.
Yeah. No, like she's got boobs. That's the only way. Like
They also refer to her as She-Hulk 4 times in the first page.
right.
So they also recognize
So
that
they
they
really
need
want
to
you
reach
to be
out
like,
the
hey, this is
characterization.
She-Hulk,
Yeah.
guys.
Right.
That's who that is.
Also, this is what I hate about. Okay, this is about the Avengers. What the fuck is Luke Cage?
Luke Cage is an Avenger.
He's an Avenger.
Oh,
yeah,
Jesus
so,
Christ.
Yeah.
Is everyone an Avenger?
Well,
Yeah.
you know what? Let's do that instead of this.
Who's an Avenger? Let's start the list.
let's explain all of that. That'll take up some time.
Oh no, we've run out of time.
Well, that's it. That's
Yeah.
it for this podcast. Thanks for coming.
That's all.
Although the one
I'm
person that does show up in this that is not an Avenger.
Yeah.
So wait,
That's
like
also
with the
you.
Avengers, do they just is it basic? I mean, is there just high turnovers? Is that what happens? They just
There's
kinda,
always
bring
a
them in, bring them
different-
out, bring them in,
yeah.
bring them out?
Yeah.
There's always a different team. They get put on different teams. They create their own team. Kicked out of team.
Like,
Have
can
their
I be
own-
an Avenger?
Yeah.
All right, I'm an Avenger.
All right, you're part of the Great Lakes Avengers now. You
Yes.
you don't do anything.
Yeah. So much better than I was expecting. I love it here.
Squirrel Girl is there.
Yep.
Kitty Pryde.
I think she's been a Great Lake Avenger before.
Anyhow.
I'm sure you'll see Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur in
Yeah,
there.
that seems about right.
Yeah.
I need
Wait.
a cool name. It says
Oh, yeah.
dinosaur. I'll take it.
He's from the Savage Land.
Yeah, he is a sentient dinosaur.
So why is he a devil?
Because he's all
He's
red.
red. I didn't
So he's
name
like
him.
the original T-Rex from Jurassic Park.
So why isn't he a hot devil?
Ha!
Like sexy?
Like I first thought I was like T-Rex with a six-pack.
I
How
was
many arms?
how
Like,
about
that's the
Danger
sexiest dinosaur
Dinosaur?
I've ever seen.
I'm so glad we
could
could.
look like She-Hulk.
I'm so glad we could discover Josh's wife's weird fetish on the internet.
Oh.
I like dinosaurs.
Now I just see Jen like in lingerie on the bed, and I'm walking into one of the inflatable
You're like, are you ready for me, baby? Roar.
roar.
No, go back out and do it again. You didn't do it right.
Cut. And scene.
More devil.
Exactly. I have notes.
Oh, God, we're only in the first, you guys.
Is it helping that we're prolonging it or hurting
I
it?
don't know.
Okay.
Luckily, the issues are kind of short, so like,
Yeah.
it's not that terrible, honestly. But so they check Peter and Clint with the device, scans them for something that's never fully explained. I get the gist that it's supposed to make sure that they have sort of artificial alien code or something that Ultron has based on them. They legitimately are like, Ultron didn't infect them. What that thing might be, unclear.
Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk.
So this was actually covered in the part of this that I have you read,
Thank
which
God.
is the prequel stuff. Basically, Ultron has taken over anything that can connect to it. So there is an issue in the earlier stuff, like Misty Knight's arm just starts beating her up
Oh, dang.
because it's a cybernetic limb.
Did anybody fucking check on fucking... Holy fuck. Please check on your robot friends during this trying time.
So, yeah, that's why during this, if anybody has technology that isn't named Tony Stark for some reason, they
They're
will
suspects,
not. Yeah,
yeah.
they're suspect.
So they're checking them out, and then Emma Frost pops up and is like, "They're clear, guys." And I'm like, "Okay, well, Emma."
She scanned their mind.
Yeah, she scanned their minds, so they're fine. In fact, Clint actually says, "Thank you, Emma." Are words I never thought I'd say.
Yeah.
Being fair.
Yeah.
So we kind of walk through this area, and there's just a bunch of superheroes here that have congregated, and they're yelling at Clint. Went out to go find people, which I guess he, if you do that, you're gonna die. And he's like, "Yeah, we're already gonna die, so I'd rather just do it saving people instead of sitting here in my feelings like you nerds."
If I'm gonna die living, damn it.
Pretty much. He actually shames everybody for giving up, and everybody's like, "Well, we didn't give up. We were just resting."
Yeah. I'm just resting my eyes.
Yep.
And even She-Hulk is like, we don't have a plan. And Clint's like, "Well, whose fault is that?" And Tony's like, "Well, he's working on it." And we just cut to the saddest panel of comics I've ever seen in my life. Pretty infamous, actually. Of the one of a Captain America in a very torn up suit, just
Crying.
Crying in a corner,
Just desolate.
elbows on knees, head bowed. In fact, we can't even see his face in the panel. Just the
Why is he a
epitome
wizard?
of sadness.
Why is he? Oh, those are the scales of his uniform.
Yes. So this,
That are ripped up.
yeah,
Okay.
this actually influenced some of the costume for the MC Captain. Not the scales specifically, but his. And that's the end of the. See, it's not terrible.
It's only taken us 25 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to apologize.
Issue 2, we're in San Francisco and similarly devastated, which made me feel very upset.
Yeah, but in this case, it's not Ultron. It's Elon Musk's fault.
Somebody's Tesla went away there.
No.
Self-driving car just fucking...
Everyone just stopped paying rent.
Yeah, parts of it are on fire, parts of it are devastated. You can kind of see wine country. No.
Yeah, right?
My vineyards! And there's a lady who's destroyed a street full of rubble, a cloaky thing, evading these Stark Sentinel. Do these things have an actual name? I don't know.
Ultrons.
Ultrons, I guess. Sure. And the lady is stopped by somebody who looks like up until yesterday they were in middle management at a bank.
Mm-hmm.
Who's got a gun and is pointing it at her and it's like, "Hey, give me what you got. You got food, you got a car, give it to me."
This man has made a mistake.
He's made a terrible mistake. Because what he's trying to do is he's trying to rob Natasha Romanoff, otherwise known as the Black Widow.
Womp womp.
Bad choices abound here.
And she's not in the fucking mood.
She is in no mood. I mean, she's never
not
in the mood. But she's definitely not in the mood today. She's having a hard time. Also,
So she's gonna pull a Karen and
kind of.
Look at me. I am the manager now.
Pretty much. She basically is like, look, if you were going to shoot me, you already would have, but you're not a real man, so I don't expect that of you.
oh, and all of a sudden all the bullets fell out.
Like, I might have respected you if you chose to shoot me first and ask questions later, but you didn't do that. So let me fuck you up. It's also
of the gun
important to
just
note two things here. Her eyes are blue, which they're normally not. And she has some sort of weird patch of something over her right eye that looks like a combination of like leprosy and dragon scale from Game of Thrones. It's real weird. It is also never what it is.
Yeah.
I have no earthly idea.
All right. Yeah,
She's
that
not
would
having
explain
a
her
good
bad
time.
day.
That is a raging pink eye.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the worst case of pink eye. You
Clearly,
would
there's no
ever
medication
see.
in this
Right.
post-apocalyptic world.
In fact, I at first thought she was like half like one of the Marvel zombie type things,
yeah.
and I was like, oh, like what's going on here? But it is not addressed, at least not in the comic book. It might be one of those tie-in situations where it's like, oh, it's a techno virus or something like that. I don't know. It's not relevant to the story. I just don't want to.
I mean,
She
yeah,
had a microchip in her eye.
in her current incarnation, she has a symbiote. So,
Yeah, she's always had a lot of problems. So as this guy's trying to like very foolishly rob her, he just all of a sudden mid-sentence takes a bullet through his head. Not from Nat, by the way. We cut. You can see that there's somebody with a sniper rifle at the top of a nearby building. And she uses sign language to him, and like, oh, I had it, and the person signs back, oh, sure you did. I was fully expecting to be Bucky. It's not. Bucky is sure not appearing in this film. He shows up nowhere, further decreasing my interest in it. It's revealed this is Moon Knight, so it's fine actually because I love and for the record would love to see their own team up series for no other reason than it just would please me.
Acceptable.
Yeah, it's totally.
I would like that. That would be good. I love
Yeah, nice Jewish boy from Chicago and nice Russian lady from the Murder Factory.
Yeah.
Have adventures.
I like it.
They like try out different
Sins of-
restaurants.
Did Sense of Sinister teach you nothing about witching things from Marvel? You remember when we said we wanted an entire series of nothing but Mr. Sinister, and then they gave us Sins of Sinister?
But I only wanted the iteration of that particular Sinister to have his own series, not somebody else.
The Secret Wars Sinister, the why did you not tell me that someone could have that glorious of a cape?
Right, yes. The very flamboyantly queer Mr. Sinister, that's the one I want. Give him his own shit. So Nat rolls his body like any good gamer would, and finds like what appears like a Cliff Bar, and just starts eating it.
Sure they're not in Chicago.
I drink your milkshake.
Mark signs to her that he's going to meet her at the safe house. It's further illustrated too at this point. Like there's some humans that are trying to run from Sentinel Ultron guys. And they're like, some better perish, and they're running, and they just get vaporized by these guys. And Nat, being Nat, of course, they miss her entirely. Skulks her on the shadows to the safe house with Mark. It turns out that the safe house of where Nick Fury has a board on the wall with a picture of just about every superhero think of, with their photo. But it's not one of those like conspiracy theory boards where there's a bunch of string. It's just
like a roster.
It's like a collage.
Kind of. And they even remark on it. They're like, we don't really know what he was doing with all this. Like,
A stalker.
he's probably using it to keep track of everybody, which
It's a
is
mood
fair.
board.
Yeah, it's a mood board.
Right. One of those things we put out. It's a board.
A vision
there we
board.
go. That's
Yeah.
He bought it off of Ryback.
They do point out that they think that this was staying during the Skrull invasion, which I believe.
Secret Invasion, yes.
Another show that needs to go right next to Age of Ultron in the MCU.
I'll give you that one. I got through about half of it.
I never.
We watched the
finale
whole
episode.
thing.
Ooh.
And it's not good.
So it was just stop at the
Yeah.
Sad too, because like it had Samuel L. Jackson in it. Like
Yeah.
it should not have been terrible yet. It
Mhm.
could not hold my attention at all. So they're safe in this little bunker thing, but they realize that like they've gotta do something, get it out. So they're like, we gotta find others if there are others left, and we gotta take out fucking. Meanwhile, underneath the park, Peter is like, wow, so the end of the world actually happened and I slept through. How much more me could I possibly be?
That's a little too Chandler Bing for me. Could I be?
Yeah, they do Peter very well in this. It is one of the things that I do appreciate. Story.
Was he looking like at the reader when that was said, or was that
No,
a conversation?
he might as well have been.
Yeah.
But Peter reveals that like the last thing he saw was basically like what I believe is like a helicarrier crashing New York City at like this helicarrier.
Is that? First of all, I thought we were in. I don't know.
Yeah, no, we cut back.
Oh, coast to coast.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're gonna keep bouncing. And
Like
then
Shane McMahon.
I thought there was a
I
giant
went
force
with
field
Space
type
Ghost.
thing.
Well, not a force field, just sort of a scrap metal sort of
Thunderdome.
debris field.
Thunderdome.
Yes.
So did it crash through that and?
This was prior.
This
to
is prior.
So this is him saying this is the last thing I remember before I woke up here in this area with
Wherever
all of
this
these.
house
Basically, he said his spider sense didn't go off. That is how quick this invasion was. Just a flash of white, and he woke up, drugged, and tied to it.
Oh, okay.
So, meanwhile, Cap is still in his sad pose. It looks like, and I know correct, but it looks like his shield is shattered next to him.
It does.
That's not. That must be either a really
Stylistic choice.
really poor stylistic choice, or maybe they meant to do something with that and never did. I have no idea. Yeah, he's still in sad Cap phase as everybody's talking. So they're kind of debriefing the others, and two guys drugged me and were talking shit, and they said that they're going to sell me to the big robot, to Ultron. And everybody's like needles scratch, like, wait, they're going to sell you to him? Like, what the fuck? Like, why would Ultron? And so he's like, bro, I don't know.
I just woke up.
I was drugged and tied up. What part did you miss?
Right.
Yeah.
This is the extent of my knowledge currently.
Peter,
I don't have anything else.
Peter is able to say, like, I was under the impression that he'd done this before. He bartered a person of interest to Ultron. And Clint is like, this fucking robot.
It's not an important note by any means, and it may not mean anything to you, Dawn, but Jen, I want you to know that Quake, and it is Daisy Johnson.
Oh, good.
This is when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was on the air, so they were doing a lot more with her in the comics.
Yes.
Well, and of course, because, what is a Marvel comic fucking character we have?
Yeah.
What's an event? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, I've mentioned it before on the podcast, but the recurring issue I have is that I have Facebook, so like, different artists drawing different characters differently fucks me up so bad unless they have a very distinctive part. Like Captain America is pretty much always going to look like Captain America.
Right.
He's very distinctive.
No matter what his face.
Some of these, some of these like C, D, E, and lower stringers that only pop up like once every 10 years in an event. I don't know what that is, and I never
Well, but my point is, in something like this, it's like, oh, She-Hulk and Luke Cage. Are we ever going to see them again?
Right.
Quake, cool.
Yeah.
Is she going to be in anything else other than this scene?
There's a lot of where there's just kind of, much like any other team-up sort of big event, there's a lot of characters that like mill around in the background, and if you know them, then you know them, and if you don't, they don't do anything and are not relevant to the story, so who cares?
Right.
You can point at him and go, oh my god!
Right.
Now, the question on whether that's preferable to what we're going to run into with Spider-Verse, where there's a ton of them, but then in the main comic, they split off, and underneath they just say, if you want to follow this team, follow this comic. And they just split off a bunch of teams into their own comics.
Yeah.
Like, that if you're like, oh, I want to read the comic that has all three, like, clones of Peter Parker go off and do their own thing.
Yeah, I think that's much
okay.
Yeah.
That at least you can track.
Right.
There's some semblance of like
I
continuity
recognize this character, and then nothing, and then okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then they draw it differently. To Leia's point,
well, yeah,
it's different. And you're like, is that the same person or not? Who knows? Because their background.
Right.
Yeah, I can say like so there are two African Americans, and I have no idea who. Like, I know Luke Cage, and again, Luke Cage, pretty easy. He is a very tall, buff, African-American bald man. But there's, like, another character that's there and talking and contributing, and they never identify him, and I don't know if it's Goliath or...
Yeah, I thought it was I assumed it was Goliath, but I could be wrong. But yeah, like, they have, like, one speaking line, so who knows? They're never addressed again. But so they're sitting there kind of like, what should we do? We just don't know. This is crazy, guys. It's so crazy, like, whatever.
Oh my God.
I don't think we should, I don't think there's anything we can do. Things are really looking dire. We just gotta hang in there and survive. And then, of course, Tony's like, we gotta survive. And Peter's like, Tony, survive is not something. Like, we say we gotta do something, and your answer is survive. It's not something. And then from behind them, Cap has stopped being sad. Oh, and his shield is broken.
It is, yeah. He's carrying his broken shield.
Yeah,
so.
I wonder he's carrying a sliver of his broken. No wonder he's crying. I cry too. But he's like, we didn't have a plan, but we do now. And I love.
He just had a solid cry and now energized.
Hey,
he felt his emotion.
Yeah.
And now he's moving forward.
Yeah. Give himself the space.
Right.
And now he's on.
Right.
That's how it works.
No word on how his shield got shattered. No idea. I'm sure this has an
Prequel.
explanation. Oh, fuck. Okay. Well,
Yeah, in the initial Ultron fight, he got his ass kicked.
So it's kind of like, as I was doing this, I was kind of seeing vague bits and burbles of what ended up being, but the two are really not related in way, shape, or form, other than Ultron is there. Like, that is
they're like, okay, we're going to build a whole movie around just...
Yeah, and like, we might pull a line of dialogue, or like, I think in Age of Ultron, that was S.H.I.E.L.D. as shattered, like that vision, right? Was that in like Thor's vision or whatever?
Yes. The Ragnarok visions?
Yeah,
yes.
that are also not explained because executive meddling.
Right.
Terrible fucking
bullshit.
So that ends the second issue. So we only have 8 more to go. God fucking willing, Creek don't rise. There are a couple coming up that are mostly fighting, so we'll just make that as quick as possible. But when we open up the 3rd issue, the first thing we see is that She-Hulk and Luke Cage are making their way through this, like, weird metal domey thing over them, scrap metal dome guy. Surreal.
Scraphead Jones over here.
I don't know, I have that song in my head.
Is Terry Crews lip syncing to it? Because that's the best way.
I always think of that song set to the clip from Grand Theft Auto where somebody has modded the car to look like a piano. And it's just racing through the streets while that song is playing in the background. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Look it up, everybody. It's fucking hilarious.
No, but I do have Cage ribbon dancing.
Oh, now I do, and I'm not mad. I'm not mad. It's okay. I like that.
So they're making their way downtown.
Walking fast.
Faces around.
Faces exist.
Faces abound.
Something homebound.
There we go. Thank you. I don't actually know that song. I know of it.
And I miss you.
So they get into kind of like an area that's a little like out of the way, and Luke Cage and She-Hulk are okay, like, all right, let's get ready. And she's like, all right, do it. And
is there gonna be
Torn Up Woods portion does not feature in this storyline anywhere, but it's only because
the vibe here. I don't know.
It's only because they're not in the woods yet.
Oh, they didn't get there yet. Okay.
They haven't gotten there yet.
That actually showed up in the Sex Criminals episode as well.
I was there for it. Trust that I listened to all of them. Yes, I do.
Dawn's like, normally I listen to every episode, but this one in particular, I feel like I need to go to this certain time mark. Oh, it's Woods porn. It was calling to me.
Exactly. No, I was getting ready to be like, oh, it's the Woods porn, and then it comes through with the Woods porn, and I was like, I know, right? Yeah, I was just really excited about myself. It happens. Oh, it energizes me. Not the Woods. I need to clarify that.
It's
a podcast.
And you know what? No judgment.
That's fair. I would not, I just, for me personally, the podcast, not...
All of the internet is Woods porn.
Yes, that's true.
Oh, I found this under a log.
That's called a subreddit, Leia.
You're not supposed to talk about it either, I think.
Oh, God, this is the third issue.
If we get get to the fourth, I'll
Okay.
tell you about my favorite, newest porn site that is...
No, please play it.
The listeners can't see me just sort of blinking at you, but I assure you that's exactly what I'm doing.
Yes, firm.
Anyways, Luke Cage and She-Hulk are doing some stuff. Just trying to maintain and get through this shit.
Is it Delta 9?
I wish. I fucking wish. No, so they're like, okay, this is the plan, let's do it. And Luke Cage hauls off and just hits She-Hulk right in the face. It causes some devastation, further devastation to an already devastated area because it's Luke Cage hitting She-Hulk, right? We're not talking about a little, tap here. So then he picks her up, over his shoulder, and is like, all right, and just starts walking through. So we cut back to the safe house, and it's noted it was an hour prior to this venture of She-Hulk. And they're like, okay, like we've got this. It's revealed too that this incident, whatever it was, Jessica and the baby, and Jessica's daughter were killed. Very upsetting. And so they're like, okay, well, now that we know that this robot is detecting traits of humans or heroes or whatever, and now that we know that the criminals are essentially getting permission to crimes or whatever as long as they made quote-unquote payments to the robot, and so everybody's a little confused because they're like, why wouldn't the robot just kill everyone like it wants? Why would it go to this trouble, and why would it make trades people? Like, this doesn't make a ton of sense, especially with like these Z-list criminals.
Find whoever you...
And Tony provides a little bit of a letting room that Ultron was created to have kind of replicating what it thinks are its desires, whatever, like
Revenge.
Yeah, revenge, torture, hate, all of those illogical ideas. He taught himself to act that way.
Oh, I was thinking I was very concerned about the
Ultron does
collection.
not have genitals.
He's not Data.
And Clint is like, hey, can I just say screw Hank Pym for inventing Ultron in the first place? And I'm like, again, I really need to stress, I love Clint Barton. Clint Barton just gets right to the heart of the matter. He's the ultimate straight shooter who's like, fuck Hank Pym. Because that's a mood. And Tony first is like, what's and it's like, oh, it's not his fault. Who else created Ultron? Who's this guy over here?
Who amongst us?
Yes, who amongst us here has created Ultron? Raise your hand if it's you. And Cap gets everything back on track. And like, let's not argue about whose fault this is. Let's just make a plan and let's sell Ultron one of us. And everybody's like, okay, well, who amongst us is going to be? The hope here is to actually get in and figure out what he's doing with. And so they're like, well, it's got to be somebody who can who is strong and super constructible enough to. So of course, Luke Cage and She-Hulk at the same time are like, I'll help. And they kind of fight about it for a second because like my skin's unbreakable, and She-Hulk is like, also that, and I'm stronger than you.
Because I'm a Hulk.
And Emma's like, Tony is about to tell you that neither of you are. But they prevail.
It's important to note that Wolverine is like, oh, I'll go. And Cap is like, okay, we are not going to send the person that has adamantium all over his bones to Ultron, who can melt you down and make a new vibranium body. We're not sending
that would
you.
not be the wisest choice.
Yeah.
He also says that, like, he's like, Clint's like, your leg isn't even healed yet. And Wolverine's like, well, 3 days ago it was completely gone. So this is where I have a question, Josh.
Uh-huh.
If you have an adamantium skeleton, lose a leg, and your leg regrows your skeleton, adamantium grow, right? So do you just have a regular ass leg and adamantium in the rest of your body?
No, for a while he would have had like a Terminator leg, because you can't separate the limb.
Oh.
So
you would just
because it hits adamantium.
Just,
now, it could get, all the fleshy flesh could get just vaporized off of it, and then you're walking around like a T-1000.
Okay, because I was like, he said that it was gone.
Yeah, well, I imagine he means,
the flesh was gone, but the skeleton was still there. Okay. Because, skeleton question from Leia.
Who'd have thunk it?
Because I thought about that. Of course, that's the place my mind goes when I'm reading this. Like, but how does this skeleton on page 32? You said that and does his skeleton know his well, anytime you see something
Worst
like that, a wizard
event
did it.
ever.
Oh, wizard did it.
Oh, wizard. Who's Chris Jericho? He's a wizard.
Lucy Lawless. So they formulate this plan. They're like, okay, we're Luke Cage and Hulk are going to go in, do the best they can to get some kind of intel or figure out why this is happening. And if they do make it out on the other side, they're like, we obviously can't come back to the safe house because that's so Cap is like, we need to mutate in the Savage if there still is a Savage. That is, the Savage Land is in Antarctica. Dynasty.
Yeah, it's the Land of the Lost.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, Hollow Earth fuckery.
Yeah.
Is there particular that can't get there? Is that just the
It's
only last
not even that it
surviving?
can't get there. It's just that it's very remote.
Yeah,
It's
why
like,
would you?
Okay.
There's really no need to go to Antarctica. It's not like they got regular transit there.
It's like Ultron's trying to take over the world. Why go to Indiana?
That's fair.
Like
Yes.
this is going to be the place where I start. No.
Nobody's going to start in. That'll be the last place.
Yeah, and it's hard to get to, and I'm sure there's other things that prevent just popping land. I frankly don't care enough about it today. Yeah, force field, magic, sure, okay, robots. I don't know. The moon.
Disappearing
The moon
animals.
probably has something to do with it. Clones.
Sauron's there. The
There.
pterodactyl
Oh my
with
God.
psychic powers.
Oh, why did I ever start reading comics?
So you can even throw Mickey Mouse if had to rush the rights or whatever.
Specifically, Steamboat Willie.
Ah, okay. Specifically that one.
It's
Steamboat
like
Willie's
it's like
Savage
the
Land.
Ready Player One of Marvel.
They're just all there.
Ultron got you too, huh? Minnie's dead.
No, she probably got sold.
Anyways,
So meanwhile in Chicago,
yeah. Meanwhile in Chicago, so Luke Cage is strolling through She-Hulk over his back, and meanwhile in Chicago, which actually looks normal. Chicago has been untouched by violence.
Well,
As you can see by the panel.
so it just looks like it usually.
I just figured the politicians sold 3/4 of the buildings.
100%, and they just came in with like a giant scoop and took
Yeah,
them
that's
out.
right.
So I do have a question because I was hoping to get Anne to feel like it was. Why Cage decided they want each other in the face?
Because Luke Cage is gonna knock She-Hulk out to bring her and sell her to Ultron to sell the deal.
And she had to be knocked out for that, or could
No,
she
but
just
it was
like?
just kind of to sell it, be like,
okay.
she's knocked out. I got her. Like, I got to make this
Right.
trade. She wakes up, whatever.
Take this.
Right. In Chicago, we have Black Panther, a Red Hulk, and Taskmaster complaining about the air quality, which is also
Usually they come by the weather, not the air quality.
and so they're spying on something.
I mean, it's Chicago. It
It's
could
Chicago.
literally be big.
But they find they 12 miles, or sorry, 1.2 miles away. Taskmaster is able to high-powered telescope. And 2 miles away in that direction, there's like a lone Ultron Sentinel guy. Go. So Red Hulk does a massive Hulk leap just past the L. Looks like it's like clear. He comes across this thing and like literally rips its head off and part of its metal spine out.
Oh, gross.
It's a robot. It's fine. It's an evil robot too. What's the awe for?
I don't know.
It's
Decapitation.
that poor robot.
Skynet.
And so then as he's being back, Taskmaster's like, shit, he wasn't quick enough. And Black Panther's like, oh, here we come. And so he's being tailed by these Ultron guys. He tosses the head and spine thing to T'Challa and is like, take it and go, and tries to face off against these Sentinel guys.
Why didn't you just use the head to like bowl, then they would all fall?
That would have been smart, yeah.
Maybe
They explode the building that they are trying to escape from in chaos. T'Challa's neck is just straight up broken, and
what the fuck?
he has no speaking lines in this comic
Right.
book at all. He shows up to die. Taskmaster makes it out okay though, and is like, oh, seems like T'Challa is dead. That is unfortunate. Time to leave. I mean, there's nothing you could do.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in New York, Luke Cage has found an escort of the Ultron Sentinel, and he utters his famous Sweet Christmas line. I don't even know how to describe this. Giant antenna,
Yeah.
I guess, would be the thing that I can approximate. Giant, sorry listeners, I cannot show you. Yeah, it just looks like a big sort of antenna or transmitter or something in the middle of the city.
But also a building.
But also a building.
Large round areas that, yeah.
Yeah. So they escort him up to this area that inside the transmitter thing. I wish I could be more descriptive here.
Get captured.
So there's an inside of this transmitter thing, and Luke recognizes like, oh no, it's not Ultron. And then the last page of this issue, you see it is in fact not Ultron. What it is a ripped in half Vision. Who says, Cage, what do you offer? Suspended its transmitter. So that's pretty honest. So book 4, Luke Cage is like, hey, what's up, my dude? Can
looking
I?
Great.
Yeah, looking good, bud.
Have you lost weight?
Exactly.
He's like, can I talk to
You ain't got no
Ultron?
legs, Lieutenant Dan.
Oh, it's true. It's true. He does not have any legs. And he's like, can I talk to Ultron? In the way that you address somebody with personalities. And sure enough, we get a coming out of him, the Luke Cage, what do you have to offer? And Luke is like, well, wait, who am I talking? I want to make sure I'm talking to the right guy here. And Vision replies, Ultron can see you. And so Luke is like, well, great, where is he? And Vision goes silent for him. And then all of a sudden starts screaming, he trolls from the future. He watches us and kills us all for the, and it just kind of gets cut off there. Luke Cage is irritated to find out that the damn robot isn't even here. This was the moment where I was like, I don't wish to.
Wait, it took this long?
I mean, like, I was like, okay, first 3 issues, alright, I don't love it, but no, okay.
Leaning into the discomfort. And then you were like, nah, fuck
and
this
then
shit.
I'm like, he controls us with, there's gonna be time travel, and this isn't there.
Time.
Yeah.
Why you punish me?
Do we have to put a disclaimer on the rights to that music?
I'm
Or
only
is it
singing
okay
it.
if you sing it?
I'm only singing it in 15-second clips.
Nice. Just in case.
It's being used for parody and satire.
The last thing we need to do is put like the hell of
Copyright
lawsuits
infringement
based on this.
I mean, by the time this airs, if I haven't already gotten a cease and desist from Nate Dogg.
Okay, yeah.
The estate of Nate Dogg.
Yes.
So Vision is like trying to get everything back, and like, what do you want for blah blah blah. And all of a sudden, She-Hulk just peels herself off of his shoulders, like, well, I've heard enough. Make sure you tell Tony everything you saw here, and kind of just kicks it, super kicks him out of the building, sort of.
Yes, through the wall and get out.
And starts just trying to fight these things. Really poor idea, even She-Hulk. She does not get very far before one of the Sentinels literally just lasers a hole through her head, and Vision doesn't do anything. Seems a little sad, but it also seems trapped in the suspension. Luke Cage has been super kicked out into the greater world, and the Sentinels come after him. He starts screaming about how you killed my wife, you killed my baby. I'm not going to go down without a fight. There is a fight anyways. They burn a building to the ground, and then for extra measure, essentially detonate a small nuclear bomb.
Yeah, they nuke him for more of it.
Yeah.
It's the only way to be
it's
sure.
Luke Cage, his skin is unbreakable.
Big or go home.
Go big or go home, and quite honestly, nuking it for Morbid was really the only way to be sure. So I can't say that I can't say I fault their logic there, but it just also seems like really unnecessary.
Ain't no kill like overkill.
Exactly. We pop back over to San Francisco again, 112 feet below surface level. Mark Spector is having a nightmare. Big surprise. Nat is like, hey, hey, what's up? She's like some files and whatnot. And Fury's files to be specific. And comes across some notes that he had about another emergency underground pump, and specifically that was made for the end of the and it is of course located in the Savage Land. So they take a look at his plans, and Mark is like, "Are you kidding me?
Yeah. He's like, what? What the fuck?
What the fuck is this? Have you ever done anything like this before?" And she's like, "Well, nobody has, but we'll get there."
He's a normal person looking at a comic book plot going, come on.
Yeah. And she's like, "Well, you asked for a suggestion. This is a suggestion." And he's like, "Okay, so all we have to do is sneak out of the city and find a way to the South Pole." She's like, "Yeah, normal."
With no level of public transportation, no flights.
So we cut back over to above nuclear heroes that are fleeing, and they actually do this like second before that detonating nuclear blast. Even is like somebody asked like, "Hey, was that really a nuclear blast?" And he's like, "I think so. I don't know. I've never seen one before." Which
I
is
just
a fair.
I don't look at them.
Yeah, which is a fair answer.
It would have appeared to have been.
Yes.
Can neither confirm nor deny, but it seems to be.
So they're out of there. Meanwhile, in a destroyed Chicago, the river is still green.
And that literally lasts for like 48 hours or so.
Yeah.
The actual dying in it, which I think they do to cover up the fact that it's green. It's like, there's a reason it's called blue, but...
So Red Hulk comes across Taskmaster, who is clearly fleeing the city, and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And Taskmaster's like, "Oh, no, I wasn't leaving. I was just trying to,
Make my way
leave.
downtown.
Like, the plan was to grab some Ultron tech and get out of the city. I was just trying to leave." And he, fucking knocks him.
Don't ask questions.
And then dips out of what's left. 8 days later, everybody shows up in the Savage. And somebody notices that there's a crashed jet that's nearby. But they're like, "Well, who's flying it?" And Cap studiously ignores this question. Is like, "Hey, Wolverine, Emma, like, do you sense any?" And Emma's like, "I don't get anything, but my powers aren't what they used to be." And Wolverine's like, "Well, this happened a couple days ago around here as far as I can smell. Okay, we gotta go into the Citadel, whatever that is."
The guy and stuff.
And they come across Kazar, the Lord of the Savage Land, who is basically... Now, I'm not super familiar with Savage Land stuff. I don't really read...
He's Tarzan.
Yeah. So, he's just
In Antarctica?
King Tarzan, and I don't think too hard
Because
about
keep
it.
in mind that this is Antarctica, but this is a pocket of Antarctica in which there are tropical jungles and dinosaurs.
Yeah, that's true.
And Kazar's, by the way, best friend is a saber-tooth.
Normal guys
I can get on board
doing
with
normal stuff.
Hey, dude.
It's my friend Bob. He's got long teeth.
So he takes the little village, and it's that by both Emma and that Kazar is like, "Zeke is in there," and
Are you sure not that game? That's what it is.
kind of. And so Emma and Wolf are like, "Yes, we don't want to go in there." Luke Cage, he survived a nuclear blast. He's dying. He's the one who drove that Quinjet out here. He doesn't know how to fly. It was evidenced by the landing that he doesn't know how to fly. And then crawled all the way here. And She-Hulk, Cap literally asks, and She-Hulk, nobody answers him. So, just wiped it.
That's how Luke Cage got here. And
Right.
She-Hulk's not
She-Hulk
here. What do you
ain't
think
okay.
happened?
Yeah.
Use your imagination.
Right. But Emma does pass along that Luke Cage knows Ultron's secret. Get to Ultron and Vision is a conduit destroy humanity from a safe distance. This is so tiresome. And so but he was just kind of hanging on and didn't tell them into life until showed up, so he'd be like, "This is what's happening."
Pass the baton. And
Right. So they're like, "Well, what do we do next?" And then behind them, of course, we go get Ultron, and it's Net and Mark Spector and Red Hulk and this corpse of some kind of the Sentinel. They're like, we wipe them out of existence because how we have. Because of Nick Fury, we know exactly how to do. So that's the end of. Now, halfway through this fucking bullshit.
is this when it starts to get good?
No. That time has passed.
Oh, that's already over.
This is where it gets
Okay.
so much worse. So much worse. So this opens on as it was quote unquote
quote unquote. I like that.
well, it doesn't give a specific time frame. It just says months ago. So we don't know if it's 2 months ago or 10 months ago.
It's like the 80s when it'd say pray, and you're
Right.
like, not even close, man.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot like that going on here.
It was 2-3 months ago.
Yeah,
2 or
2 or
3
3 months
ago.
ago. Minimum.
Step by the made ourselves an Ultron. And watch the Bears play.
Yeah.
By Ultron, I mean those fucking self-serve kiosks.
Yeah. Incidentally, for our listeners at home, if you think I sound like that, this is in fact right. Text, call, or
You can
or
remember
otherwise-
the number now.
Yeah, communicate with us because I've been told that I have one of the strongest Chicago accents that some of my friends have heard, and I just don't. I don't think that's
I've heard
true.
it come out in very certain
Yes.
instances, but
Yes.
it's not like an all the time
No.
thing.
Yes, usually
Yeah,
when I'm very angry or very intoxicated, all of a sudden I'll slip into it. I told that
Or my
moron I
favorite.
have 2, 3.
Yeah, or my favorite is both.
Yeah.
When you're telling a story about a time you were frustrated,
So
and you're
I
like, this
said to
fucking
him-
guy I
Yes.
said.
Yeah.
Guy. It's true. It is the anger that it comes out in.
Yeah.
For us.
Yeah.
Which is very Chicago.
Yeah, that's true. That's when we're like need to be our scariest. So that's when it comes
Yeah,
out.
it does me no favors living on the south side either. So,
Exposure, man. Exposure.
this takes place a couple months ago, an ambiguous months ago, where Reed Richards, Hank Pym, and Tony Stark are in somebody's lab. They're examining the corpse of Vision.
Question.
Or what maybe.
Reed Richards, that's the band guy, right?
Yes, that
Yes.
is Stretch Armstrong.
Stretch Armstrong. Okay, yes. That's the best I got. And I like that he turned into spaghetti. And that was
Yeah.
wonderful. I was like, he's spaghetti.
Angry
Friend of the
Adam.
pod, friend of the podcast,
Yes.
Adam Witt.
I can hear him yelling from up here. It's like,
Sorry, Adam.
It's okay. We still love and respect him.
Especially when he tells us about the Fantastic Four while he's on Muscle Relax.
Yes.
Twice, right? That was how it
I mean, the
happened?
first time was worse. The one that we
Uh-huh.
didn't publish was
Yeah.
actually
Oh,
worse.
fair.
he was in such terrible pain
Yeah,
that day.
no.
He was
Yeah.
just, you know how it just being
It's
coherent.
it's either stoned or
Yeah.
feeling
Like
not
where,
good.
where you're trying to talk to somebody about something that isn't how bad a pain you're in, and that's all you can think about.
Yes,
Like
Yeah.
it's the
no,
worst.
It's not gonna go.
So, so they're all hanging out in this lab examining has been ripped in.
How did they get him? What was that?
I assume it's because they do things.
I mean, it's been 3 months,
Dude,
so
it's been 2-3 months. So,
something happened.
they pick him up from down there, and of course Reed is like, "This is gorgeous. Look at this. He's a one-of-a-kind biomechanist."
Nerd.
They give us a little bit of a backstory. Hank Pym technically created Ultron. Ultron sort of created itself, but Hank Pym instigated basically he says that he quote planted because he created the first version of the AI and he tried to make something smarter than human. Why? I don't know. This is this classic Reed Richards bullshit where he's like, I am so smart, I am the smartest man alive. I will make an AI that is so smart that I cannot outsmart it. Nothing can go wrong.
Nothing is ever going to.
It's like the Star Trek Next Generation of Geordi says that he wants an opponent smarter than Data,
Oh.
which creates Moriarty.
Oh, yeah. Ask any kid.
Yeah.
Like, come on. No.
So Reed and him are talking. Vision created itself, kind of like, or Ultron created Vision in its own image, sort of. It's very comic book.
It's also like 60s, 70s comics.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of hand wavy.
Right. And Reed's like, well, I can understand you not wanting to take full credit for creating Ultron. And he's like, well, nobody wants to take credit for a homicidal, genocidal, suicidal.
That is true.
Taz?
You can ask several countries. Like, no, we don't want to claim actually.
Artificial intelligence that thinks that the Earth would be better off without human beings. Like, nobody really wants to take credit for that.
But just wanted to get like live stream.
Right, exactly. But it's revealed that Vision basically has a self-healing sequence where he should have healed himself, but he hasn't for whatever reason. He is just out. They're like, well, maybe he's dead for real? Question mark? We don't really know.
What's Optimus look like in a big world? That's it. Maybe he's
so
dead.
There's a bit of banter here about the only good thing that came out of Ultron was Vision. And sometimes I think that I should go back in time and tell myself never to create Ultron. But then Vision would never have existed And then who knows what the world would look like at that point, And Reed chimes in, like, then you'd have to go back and kill Hitler, and then you might as well go back to the garden and smack the apple out of Adam's hand. Like,
when will it stop?
Thanks for that, Reed.
Unhelpful contributions for $1.
And Tony's like, yeah, like, where does it end, man? Like, we can't write all the world's wrongs through time travel anyhow. And then Vision kind of stirs. And they're like, holy shit, what do we do? And he addresses it, and hey, it's Stark. Who I am. He recognizes everybody, Mr. Stark, Dr. Richards, doing great.
Have you lost weight?
Yeah, this is kind of dangerous in itself. Like, you look well.
So good.
So we cut back over to the Savage Land in the present. Everybody's trekking through. And Tony just starts like, oh man, like he builds a robot, we take it in, we make it our friend, he marries one of our friends.
Oh, no.
And even that guy didn't know this, like, we set it up, we put him years in the future, that robot figures out how to use Vision to attack us, and he just starts spiraling, essentially. He was like, alright buddy, calm down.
He's like, but it's just so ridiculous.
And he's like, yes, it is. But Nat lets them know they're there. And so they realize that they've come Hulkman, Red Hulk, to smash his way into the bunker, of course. And Red Hulk, you see, and what he sees is getting shot at.
Getting shot in the face.
Getting shot in the face.
What?
Because that's what's happening. Nick Fury is inside this bunker and is like, what up, homies? I took you long enough to get here. Important note, this is the year of our Lord, I think 2012/20. This is the white Nick Fury. This is not Samuel L. Jackson inspired Nick Fury.
They haven't condensed the Ultimate Universe with a 6 months.
So it's white guy Fury.
So see our episode on Secrets on how all that shit happened.
I always forget. I'm gonna be honest with you. And when I see Nick Fury show up and he's white, I was like, I'm always like, why is he white? And it's like, oh my god, you can just ask people why they're white.
It's even better. In the 80s, there was a Nick Fury movie.
Yes, with David Hasselhoff.
Yep, David Hasselhoff played Nick Fury. It's not good.
What?
No,
by the way.
It's kind of.
I mean, let's be honest.
If that didn't warn you off
Yeah.
immediately.
I think that it's kind of like made fun of just a smidge in the second Guardians film. At the end. It's like, yes, I've been in Marvel films before.
One of those ones where you really gotta be into it.
Yes.
Okay.
So Nick Fury being Nick Fury is like, hey, before we continue this conversation, let me make sure everybody says they're exactly who they say they are. That everybody checks out. Meanwhile, there's a brief aside in Austin, Texas, where it gets blown up. I don't know what that has to do.
Yeah, basically it's like no-name people, and the wife's like, we should leave this town, it's too big.
Yeah.
And the man's like, it's Austin, Texas, what's gonna happen here? And
just gets blown up by these sentinels, and then we move on. I guess they needed to fill a couple pages.
What if we blew up Austin?
Because it's never returned.
No more live music.
I thought they were going to go somewhere with it. I was like, oh, well, what superheroes in Austin, Texas right now? The answer is nobody.
Nobody.
Right. And now there's really nobody.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now there's also.
Everybody, so we switch back over to Nick Fury's bunker in the Savage Land, and everybody is talking about how, much like the Maison Derriere, they did not even know that place existed. And he's like, yeah, I had it built after the Skrull invasion. He also has, this is casually mentioned in one panel and never referenced again. I feel like this would have solved some problems too. In the background of the second panel here, there is the ultimate nullifier in a, glass case.
Yeah.
And somebody's like, hey, is that the ultimate nullifier? And I think that's Sue Storm. Is like, that's yep, that would be a yes. And they're like, geez, we're not there yet, are we? And that's it.
Never
referenced
like
again.
The ultimate Marvel weapon.
Yeah.
Is just
very
it's literally like mounted on the wall, just chilling.
It's just in a glass
and they're like,
display
but we're not
case.
there yet.
They're
There
like-
was somebody, you set off a nuclear bomb to kill a person, and we're not there yet? What would it
There
take to
were
be there?
instances in earlier Marvel comics that we've read where people just whip around the ultimate nullifier like
Yeah.
it's a fucking cigarette.
Like,
Yeah.
they want to
like,
they want to do shot put with it
It's
or
like
something.
it's like the shot. It's like the scene in the first season of Loki where he finds just all of the Infinity Stones in a drawer.
They're
Yeah.
just there.
Yeah.
they're just like all of these the ultimate nullifiers just banding about, and people are like pew 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 pew. I'm just nullifying everything.
It's in a glass case
bunker, just like
with
dusting
a
it.
plaque that says "In case of bad day."
Yeah. Just open it up.
Like, what? How do you?
Well, and that's the thing is that Tony actually says, I'm not even going to entertain that thought. When is an appropriate time to entertain that thought?
You're like each dragging a carcass through the woods.
Because in the
whatever.
same breath, he's like, Fury, what's the plan? You're down here in a doomsday scenario. Use the ultimate nullifier.
Yeah.
Fuck. Anyways,
What does that even do?
whatever you want it to do.
Yeah.
It's
It's a MacGuffin gun.
Yeah, it's the ultimate nullifier.
Then
Yeah.
like, what the fuck?
It's the do-over button.
It's
Basically.
it's the dip in Marvel Comics.
Not the
Oh,
dip.
got
Yes.
it.
Actually, yes, the dip. We should dip this, but come on. Oh my god.
And Tony comes just short of calling Cap the Star Spangled Name.
It's true.
And he's like, all right, what's the plan? And Nick is like, you're standing on it. So it turns out that this is... God, I wish
They're all
Adam-
just hanging out.
I wish Adam was here. They're standing on something called time platform. I don't know what that is.
Well,
it's
doesn't.
it's a time platform, so I think you infer.
Right.
It's a time platform. So that's what that is.
It's a time machine that you don't have to use a treadmill for.
Fuck. This episode is over.
Wait, what?
That's how the Flash travels through time, as he runs really fast on a treadmill.
It's-
Okay,
Oh,
I
cosmic
know that
treadmill.
I love people who like Flash.
Is that not the stupidest fucking shit
No.
you've ever heard in your life? I got so mad when I read that.
No,
I
literally,
slammed-
it's the only time that I've gotten angry messages from Leia, and she has refused to pick up a book again for 24 hours. Like a timer of
Like-
24 hours.
Like,
I'm in a timeout.
I slammed the cover on my iPad closed and did anything else for a full day so I could calm down after reading that sentence.
This is almost directly followed by Flash intentionally hitting himself with lightning to jumpstart his powers. All of Flashpoint is ridiculous.
Yeah.
See our episode on Flashpoint.
Or like don't. Like just
Or,
save
love yourself.
Or
Love yourself.
Maybe take a walk in nature.
Go touch grass. You could learn about Flashpoint or you can fucking touch grass.
Exactly.
Either way is fine. It's your choice.
It's your choice.
But I recommend the touching grass
Right.
option.
No judgment, but one is better than the other. Okay.
So anyway, they're on Doom's time platform because why not? He's like, and Nick is like, yeah, I'm almost damn sure that robot is attacking us from somewhere in the future. And they're like, yeah, we figured. Actually, Luke Cage died finding that out, but thanks. And Fury's like, oh, it's a damn shame. Anyways, he didn't really stick around in the States, hightail space. And so everybody's like, we'll help, we'll get this done.
We'll go to the...
We'll go to the future.
Because nothing bad happened in the future.
Is this why everything happens? Because everybody decides time travel is... So, like, we're chaos.
Oh,
consistently.
Dawn. Oh, just wait.
Oh, no.
No.
Oh, what happens if I leave? Is it over?
I guess we would have no choice but to spend our episode and go touch grass.
Indefinitely. There's a Costco calling my name.
Dawn died on her way back to her planet.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Womp womp.
Every time the time platform doesn't appear, people should be asking, where's the time platform?
Time platform. Oh, God.
Holy shit.
I miss the...
Life was simpler then.
Life was simpler then. I had goals and
So they're like,
Yeah, I
all
bet
right,
Joseph Michael Linzer's Dawn isn't looking too bad now, is it? You could even see some booby.
That is true.
Well.
I would take a boob over this, honestly.
we all would take a move over this.
No one writes for free.
Exactly.
Oh god, we're halfway through, guys. We are halfway through. So Ultron and his, would know that they were coming. Blah blah. And
Wolverine has an
Wolverine
idea.
has an idea because his Wolverine actually has the idea that I was like on board with until later things happen, and I was like, okay, I can see how that's bad, but I get it. I understand where Wolverine's coming from. Because Wolverine
was good.
is like, hey, why don't we go back in time instead of forward in time to kill this thing? Let's go back in time and kill Hank Pym.
Okay.
And somebody's like, or you could just tell him not to make it. You don't have to kill him.
But you're talking to Wolverine.
But you're talking to, you're talking
Well, that and also all of the other heroes at that point, like, have a quick discussion on what they know about Hank Pym. They're like, he's just an asshole who will decide he could do it better, right?
Yeah. And so that's, the kind of the consensus is like, if you tell Hank Pym not to do something, do it 3 times as hard, because that's the kind of jagoff that he is. And
It's the kind of jagoff most of the scientific people in Marvel are.
Yeah. He, like, literally, Wolverine is like, he'll think he can do it and do it right. He'll think he has to. He will look at our warning as a challenge. Hank Pym loves nothing more than to fuck around and find out. Like, that's just how he is.
Rich white be like that.
He thinks that he is so super smart. He's like, no worries, guys. And me, but I'll do something different this time. But it wasn't different at all, was it, Steve?
He's like, but what I'll do is I'll make sure that can't happen. So I'll still do it, but I'll build in like a back door, and we'll make sure it can't happen. And that makes it
Sue
worse.
Storm points out that doing this completely obliterate the space-time continuum.
Peter
Semantics.
agrees.
Peter agrees.
And then they
Semantics.
just kind of...
And then they're like, yeah, that would be terrible. Anyways, what are we doing here, folks?
Yeah, right?
And it's still not time for the nullifier?
Nope, it's still
Damn.
not time.
They're gonna blink existence out, and it's not time.
Sad
That
Cap
sounds
is
about
still
right.
being sad in this a little bit, too. So, like, someone like me or Captain America shows up at your doorstep and typically not to do something, and they're like, Cap? And he's just, like, looking down at the ground all sad, like...
Emo cap.
Emo. He's probably missing Bucky right now. He's not in this book.
Because he's just somewhere with Ultron infecting his arm going, stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
so meanwhile, Fury's like, well, while all you nerds are trying to figure out what the right thing to do is, maybe some of you would like some of the stuff in my vault of horrors.
Then they start looting.
And then they just...
Oh, I've dated that guy before.
So he's got, of course, because he's got a vault of, like, everybody's stolen everything. There's an Iron Man suit here, there's a Nova helmet, there's looks like some, Magneto's helmet is there, Bobo and set a giant axe, looks like, Widow's bites, and just more...
Red Hulk picks up an axe and is like, ooh, what's this? And Nick Fury's like, oh, that's Ares, God of Wars. Merry Christmas.
That is like a whole, that's a...
Peter finds some web shooters and he's like, buy web shooters? And Nick is like, oh, you're the only guy who can have web shooters now? There's also a line here that I appreciate. It's like, Sue Storm is like, we're doing now, and Nick Fury's like, what, you want to wait till Passover? This is such an obscure thing that it just delights me. I was like, I've never heard another human being say that in my life. Fish Comics creators, how we mark time.
Represent.
So the team basically splits up.
Some go to the future.
Some go to and some stay. Cap and Tony are part of Future, along with Red Hulk and Storm. And other folks are staying. And the minute they're out the door, Wolverine is like, "Hey, Clint, and like, did you want to chase after?" And it's hard to tell because these guys look identical on the page. I believe that is Mark Spector, who says he wants to go back in time and take him. It's like, no, absolutely not, no. And Wolverine's like, listen, I've seen everybody die. Everybody who just went to the future, they're not coming back. And I'm not asking for permission. Good day to y'all. That is where we are over halfway there. We can do this. We are at book 6.
We can do it.
We are almost we're getting there.
I feel like we need
We're clipping
shots
along.
when this is done.
Yeah. So Savage Land Antarctica years ago. Roll with it. It's time travel.
Time travel.
Still a savage land. Everything's alive. Sue Storm is also there. He's like, well, I thought you went on the future time suicide mission with Fury and everybody else. And she's like, no, I knew you were going to try something like this. I knew that the Captain America told you not to. You were going to do it anyway. So I'm coming along for the ride to help you or stop you. I don't know what I want. She's having some moral dilemmas that she really wants to talk about, and Wolverine is like, let's go.
Less talking, more killing. Let's do it.
Would you kill someone to save your kids? Somebody's got a knife to you. This is basically that times like a billion. Like one man's life for a billion. So this is what we're gonna do. The trolley problem, but much bigger. So they hear something weird. Sue cloaks them, and it is Josh's automobile.
Nick Fury's flying car that was also in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because Coulson had it.
Yeah.
Yes, I could not think of the name. It's got a weird, like, Sweetie or Honey or
No,
something.
it's a woman's name.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I knew it had some sort of name that...
Sheila sounds right.
Sure, I don't know. Anyways, it's Nick
Whatever.
Fury's flying car. He gets out. He's still white.
It's true.
Why does he persist?
His
Give it
whiteness
up already,
persists.
man.
Lola. Lola's the name of the
Lola,
car.
okay. I knew it had a name, and I could not think of what the fuck it was.
Yeah.
Which never got brought up in
Ever again.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but Lola is actually an acronym that stands for Levitating Overland Automobile.
Fuck.
That somewhere. I feel like they did say that somewhere.
God, they're trying so hard.
Just called her that way.
Right?
So he starts going into the bunker, and Logan's like, "Hey, look, this is a freebie. We're
Free
not
car.
getting too many." And Sue's like, "What are you talking about?" The next thing we see is Luke coming out to find that his car has been stolen
Oh
in the jungle in Antarctica. He is good carjacked, and that's what you get for being white.
And are you sure they're not in Chicago?
This is the Marvel equivalent of Nightwing getting his wallet stolen.
Right. It's like Nick Fury getting his car
You're not going to tell
stolen.
anybody, are you?
Right.
Oh, Bucky already knows.
So they steal Nick Fury's flying car, and then the panels of them just enjoy riding.
Looking like the neutrinos from Teenage Mutant Ninja
Yes.
Hanging out the passenger side of his ride.
That's right.
That's actually, Sue Storm is legitimately hanging out the passenger side of... I don't
Wolverine's
know
ride.
if Wolverine is her best friend, but her friend's ride.
Most of the other people are dead, so yeah,
Yeah,
probably
and
by
And that
default.
will bring you up a couple of rounds.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in the Savage Land, but in the future, years from now, please bear with me, going to back and forth jumping from now until... Yeah.
They realize Sue's not there.
Team Future realizes Sue is not there.
She was like, I'm gonna go, right?
And Storm is like, well, she was supposed to be our stealth component. Why the fuck would you do that? And Tony does point out a valid point, like, you can't be visible in front of an AI. It does not work. They have thermal sensors and all kinds of other stuff. Like, Nick is a little pissed, but is like, all right, well, let's go do this.
Must go on.
He tells Quicksilver to head towards Manhattan, start running and don't stop. He instructs to get everybody in the air. Orders from here on out come from Cap. Follow these orders or you're gonna die. And, let's go kill us some robots. Meanwhile, in the flying car, they are back at regular New York, undestroyed New York. And Wolverine is like, wait here in the car. This should only take a few minutes. Meanwhile, Hank is upstairs examining some kind of fucking gargoyle.
Dragon Man is a thing. Is an android that is built like a dragon man.
Hey, I didn't know.
But his name is not Trogdor.
So
Does he
he's
look anything like that Gargoyle Max or whatever?
No, it does not look like the gay gargoyle from Home Goods.
No.
So he's
Disappointing.
he's
Very
got
unfortunate.
this dragon comics on this very large exam table, and is just existentially pontificating about artificial intelligence. Did anything worth a damn since we discovered the PIM particles? And yeah, it make Jane and Ida superheroes, but I can't make money off of it. I can't give it to the military.
God damn it, capitalism.
Yeah, like, if Tony Stark is going to sell Iron Man armor, then I certainly can't sell the Pym particle. I have to,
Oh, yeah.
But if I made this AI, it would be so cool. He talks about how he's like, the other day and said something about how, he's scared to death of what's called the singular. It's the moment when technology and humanity have to merge to survive. Hank Pym, an eternal idiot, is like, it's the best thing that can happen to us as a people or a species. We have so many technological advances.
Nothing could ever.
And then a voice from behind him was like, it just happened, didn't it? You just thought of the way
to fuck the world.
Oh, no.
And I was here to see it, and it's Wolverine. And he's like, who are you, buddy? He's like, I'm the ghost of Christmas future.
FYI, Hank Pym should know who Wolverine is, because they have shoehorned fucking Wolverine into so many
He's
things.
in everything.
Like, he was after Bucky.
Yeah.
He was Captain America's sidekick in World War II, is what they've retconned and shit. So
he absolutely should know.
Well, he had AI on him, so
Sure.
there's probably some refractory period before he can for stuff.
So Wolverine is like, hey, look, I am here to kill you.
I'm here to steal your ideas.
I'm coming from the future in which everybody knows who you are and they know the terrible things you've done to our world, and now I have to kill you so that you don't ruin the future. Hank Pym turns very large and starts fighting. Starts farting. Oh god, starts fighting. Holy shit.
Your body is just going into
my brain is just veering away from this plotline so hard. It does not want.
You're like, hey, fart jokes, let's do it. It's like when
I will
the legs
do
buckle.
anything except cooperate with this storyline.
It's like when the legs buckle right when you're a marathon. Or so I heard. It's not like I run marathons, but your body's just like, that's fucking close enough. Whatever.
Yeah, we're almost there.
We made it. It's
That
fine.
that counts. I see it. It counts.
So here in the future, Team Future has across the entire East Seaboard covered in the metal. It's not even like when I say like when I was talking about the scrap dome earlier. It's not even correct, but it's like imagine like living metal, like kind of fractalized, like
Oh,
yeah,
almost like a geode kind of deal.
Yeah, kind of. The city has kind of been rebuilt in Ultron's AI. Like, go to an AI generator and plug in, like, what it thinks the city looks like, and it's like this. And so we're just like, oh, we might be too close. And sure enough, they are, in fact, too close. And Ultron head robot guys started to quick something. They start fighting, like, a swarm of... They're like head drone things. And,
yes.
And Tony's like, yeah, we're not doing too bad on things. And then he looks over his shoulder, and there are like millions of these things coming at them, and it's a bad time. Meanwhile, a very large, embiggened Hank Pym and regular-sized Wolverine are fighting. And he's like, I gotta kill you. Sue Storm appears.
Get
and
back
like,
here and let me kill you.
It is like, hello, I am here. We cannot do this. And Hank Pym recognizes her and is like, what's happening? Why is Sue Storm here? And why is she so old?
Oh.
You never say that to a woman.
Yeah.
It's Hank Pym. Hank
That's
Pym
true.
does not interact well with women. I don't know if you're aware.
That's true.
And talking about like this, your husband killed your children, and well, but I have some moral issues. There's more fighting. And so Wolverine just fucking sneaks in.
Meanwhile, in the future, there is a fucking nasty panel of Steve literally getting his head shot.
Yeah,
Oh.
Cap is
Aw.
extremely upsetting. Actually, I think my brain legitimately skittered over that panel. It did not want to see it.
To be clear, this is Cap dying from bullets in time, not
Not a
from time bullet. Oh man.
Leia just broke.
So, well, normally I edit these things to like take out silence and cut it down to like a half second, but I may need to just add the silence back for that moment that Leia stared off into
broke.
nowhere.
She's like, that's the end of it.
It's been 84 years.
Right? Let's do Age of Ultron. No. I genuinely did not notice it the first time I read it. My brain was like, I refuse to engage with this.
I do not see this.
I do not see this. It still exists.
So he kills Hank Pym. Everybody on the plane stands up and claps. And it's like, okay, now we go home and go see whatever's waiting for us. It's got to be better than what we left. And they walk out of there. It's still in big, and Hank Pym is very dead. Very dead. So that was both. So we're God willing, we only got 3.
We're trucking.
Whoo-wee.
Wait, I thought you said there were 8. There are 9?
There's 10.
10.
Yeah. You and me both, babe.
1.5 speed. Whose idea was this anyway? That was a stupid idea. God.
It's like somebody did this as a joke.
So in the 7th issue, we open up in Savage Land, Antarctica, again, years ago, ambiguous timeline. They are in the Savage Land, in the flying car, with some pterodactyls around, just really hammer at home that this place is fucking weird.
The pterodactyls are like, what the fuck is that?
And Sue Storm is
I don't want to cure cancer. I want to turn people into dinosaurs.
Yeah, that's pretty much what Sue Storm is at, honestly.
Yeah.
It's the other way around. Like, she's like, well, what have we done? He had so many good things left to do with his life, and what if he could have cured cancer, and what if he could have been president? Wasn't he one of the greatest of all time?
Oh my god, why do we always have this conversation whenever, like, white dudes?
Yeah.
It's always like, but it could have been so amazing.
And like, if it hadn't been for him creating Ultron, then we didn't have our friend Vision. Didn't our friend Vision marry our friend the Scarlet Witch? Now that'll never happen. And it's like, okay, but also, and Wolverine's like, okay, but also he killed everybody. Literally everybody. The whole planet is empty of life. But sure, Susie.
Fuck you, Susan.
Yeah.
Fuck you. It reminds me of the time my aunt asked me, well, what if they had aborted Jesus? And I said, well, the crucifix would have been a lot smaller.
Oh boy,
It's lovely.
Josh
humor.
is fun at family gatherings.
I know, right? I keep getting.
I'm fun to watch at family gatherings.
So then Wolverine's sense starts tingling, and sure enough, a T-Rex pops out of the nearby brush.
Yes.
And is like, he's pops his claws and gets ready to go. He was like, killing isn't the answer to everything. And
it's a T-Rex. Does she know what a T-Rex is? I mean,
man,
also you're in a flying car.
I don't
What's wrong
know.
with her?
I don't know what is wrong with her, but maybe she needs to die.
I genuinely don't know if this characterization of Storm a good one or not, because I've never
seen a good one.
I've never read any Fantastic Four exclusive storylines. Like, I have read stories where the Fantastic Four appear, but I have not read any Fantastic Four specific comics, so I genuinely do not know if this is a good characterization or a regular characterization of Storm. In this one, she is just like kind of a goodie that is kind of whiny, and I don't like her very much.
Yeah.
Pollyanna.
She is.
Yeah. So she creates a force field over the T-Rex's mouth, essentially just like clamping it shut, and then it doesn't know what to do with that information and runs away.
Well, it's not like it can just like use its arm and get it off.
Right, exactly.
So.
It's just like, and then just runs off.
And then runs away.
And that's that on that. So they continue trying to track everybody. They go to platform fucking.
Which exists in all times.
Yes, exists in all times.
In the same place?
In the same
Yes.
place.
Oh, so you just like, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Fuck it. We'll
Yeah.
do it live.
Yeah.
We'll fix it in post.
They did not fix it in post.
Editor's note. Fuck this.
So they jump on the time platform and they're like, and Logan's like, we were right to come here. We've done a great thing today. And it seems like, I guess we'll fucking find out. Meanwhile, in the present day, they pop back in. It looks worse.
Oh.
The Savage Land is now basically an alien spacecraft junkyard. It looks like part of Secret Invasion went sideways and took place here.
I do love this part because Sue's like, yeah, it looks like the Kree Skull War happened here. And Wolverine's like, there was a Kree Skull War, showing that he should not have been the person with the knowledge to decide how to fuck with time.
Right. Yeah. So, they hear some voices, and so Sue kind of, it's a couple people in, like, what looks sort of like Iron Man, but also not, chit-chatting with one another, talking about their Stark Guard security clearance,
This is kind of like the conversations that the Bee minions have in Venture Brothers. Like, every once in a while it'll just cut to these two minions that are literally like named
Chatting.
1 and 2. Yeah, and these guards are just like, oh, one's like, oh, I think she's using you. Like, using me for what? Your security clearance. And then like a third one's like, listen, man, if you like her and she likes you, just go and be in love. Who cares if she's Hydra?
yeah, legitimately. And I was like, okay, all right.
I was like, I will follow these 3 through more comics. That's fine. Let's just go and do that.
Right. So, what do we do the other one now?
We're just gonna abandon this whole comic and follow these 3 guys.
So they fly back in the flying car back to New York. Something hits the car. They don't know what. They couldn't see where it was from. And so they get shot down. They fall out of the sky. And they're like, well, New York is still here, and that's great, but who shot at us? And then somebody from off panel is like, what do you think you're doing? And it's the Defenders, which is really weird. They all look weird. This is Captain, Doctor Strange, Quill.
Yep.
Cyclops. Not, this is where it's going to get stupid, not the Wolverine that is watching the Wolverine that's approaching them now.
Right.
This other Wolverine. AU Wolverine. And Thing. And Captain America, but Captain America has an eye patch.
It's like Fury mixed with Captain America, yeah.
Yeah. They immediately are accused of being Skrulls by the Defenders. And so they're talking about, either they're Skrulls or this is some kind of Le Fay trick, Morgan Le Fay. Or cosplayers. They haven't ruled that out either. Thing, however,
But
is
time
excited
traveler
to see...
is not an option?
No.
Okay.
Not immediate.
Not immediately.
Oh, okay.
Thing is excited to see Sue, but nobody else is. Wolverine is excited to see Wolverine in a way that can only be described as murderous.
I've never killed me before.
Right, exactly.
Challenge.
Unlocked. So they get together, and they're like, everybody explain yourselves. And so original Wolverine and Sue Storm were like, we gotta run. We gotta get the fuck out of here. They get chased. Wolverine versus Wolverine happens. It's like, oh, I'm dying to hear what this is all about. and Wolverine 2 is like, oh, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. And Wolverine 1 is like, sure I would. With a face like yours, what's not to trust?
The great strategy.
Yeah. So there's some fighting. So finally, Captain Marvel's like, okay.
It's not Captain Marvel, it's Wasp.
Oh, was that Wasp? I could tell.
Yep.
I thought that was Captain Marvel. Well, anyways, doesn't matter.
Somebody was there.
Yeah, she's got like 2 lines. And it's like, hey, who are you really? Meanwhile, Wolverine and Wolverine are fighting their way through a Chinese restaurant kitchen. Is Wolverine 2 is Wolverine 1 being a Skrull. And Wolverine 2 is like, why are you guys so fucking hyped about Skrulls? Wolverine, OG Wolverine, manages to not kill but disable present day Wolverine. I don't know what to call this guy.
Alternate universe.
AU Wolverine.
Yeah.
I thought A was for Austrian.
No, that's Kitty Pryde and the X-Men Wolverine.
Alternate universe Wolverine. And he disables, like, hey, you'll hear from this, and you'll see the sunrise again. You'll have your team, your friends, and maybe you'll find a woman one day.
You fucking loser.
Yeah.
Nobody knows how to kill appropriately. I mean, I'm not a killer, right?
Well, I mean, but it's you.
Why are you so nice about it?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's you, and also, like, you have a healing ability that kind of makes killing difficult at best. So he's at least able to kind of disable and dips out of there just as Defender's team comes across, and they're like, oh no, what did they do to Wolverine?
Well, this is after, like, so Wolverine's about to go, like, through the swinging doors that you have in kitchens when and he's like talking to his other self, being like, you're gonna be fine, and then like all you see is things orange rock fists punching him in the face.
Oh my god.
It
is a very well drawn panel.
Yes. And so they're like, okay, so they're like, well, they're not Skrulls. But we don't know exactly who they are. We do have our Wolverine, who told us to leave him alone for a minute. And they're like, "Are you sure you have the right one?" And then they're like, "Oh, I haven't. We've never seen anything like this." And then from off panel, somebody say, "Good thing I showed up on my own then, because who wants to tell their Uncle Tony exactly what's going on around here?" We have a complex panel with Tony Stark looking gray-skinned and kind of Thanos-y.
Yeah.
In a very different suit of armor than we've ever seen before, that it seems to have like arc reactors just everywhere, including one on each hip, like facing out. I don't really know what the purpose of that is. And then he's got just a ton of like drones and probably like nanosuit or whatever. So that's the book 8. That's what's happening now. Almost there. We are in stretch.
And that's going to do it for part 1. Please tune in 1 week when we will have the second part of Age of Ultron. But until then, take it away, Vandello.
Little wreck conversation, some deep reactions, please. All this comics narration alienating me. A little more talk, a lot less read. A little fight, baby, is what I need. Close the trade, open up your brains. Explain it to me. Explain it to me, baby. Explain it to me. Explain it to me, baby. Explain it to me. Vandello 2021.